Hi, everyone. Welcome to AstroMedics, a medical astrology collab between myself and Dr. Maria Johnson. We're doing a special giveaway as a little Christmas gift this month where we're going to be gifting you this call. This is something we normally offer on our Patreon channel where every subscriber and everyone who's attended this call today is going to be able to ask a general health question. And it's a great deal. It's about $1 a day, and you get direct access to Maria and me. Maria is a doctor. She's been an ER doctor. She's a former surgeon. She's an Ayurvedic practitioner. I have a background in as a medical researcher. I've been hired by psychologists to specialize in analyzing the nervous system in that's specific, and psychology specific to women and people of color, because we do operate differently because of systemic situations. So we do approach both of these things, and we're both trained in medical astrology and ancient and modern astrology. We've translated Latin scriptures. So there's a lot of great information that we're going to be sharing. And this month, we're going to be focusing on Sagittarius because the sun is in Sagittarius right now. But it's going to be something it's designed to be inclusive for everyone, because we all have every zodiac sign in our charts, and every zodiac sign rules a specific part of our body. And so what I recommend is, as Maria is telling us the medical aspects of things, the parts of the body that Sagittarius rules, the nutritional information, herbs, supplements that support Sagittarius, just take a mental note and think about what health issues, like do I have any health issues with those body parts? Because that'll tell you that the recommendations that Maria is recommending, you can try it out. This is also great for those of you, for example, if you're a coach or you're trying to set your personal goals, you are operating from the energy of Sagittarius. I'm going to give you insights, and this is going to be more where my information is going to be more useful for you, where I'll be layering on the emotional, psychological, spiritual aspects of things. And it's going and providing you with actionable steps that you can take. So I'll design it in a way where it works for everyone. But specifically, because like I said, Sagittarius rising is the focus of this month, and we've got a couple of Sag risings here with us today. So your rising sign is a zodiac sign that's in your first house. This represents your physical body, the environment that's optimal for you to get started on things. So for Sag risings, for your moon, which also represents your physical body in Sagittarius, this can be useful for you. And particularly those of you who also have Neptune on your ascendant, for those of you born in that generation, I'm talking to you, Anjali. These are people who you have the planet of confusion and astrological guidance on your ascendant. So specifically when it comes to your physical health, there can be confusion around what's going to support you. So medical astrology can be particularly beneficial when you don't know what's going on with your health. And just really quickly, I want to talk about two other houses. Now, for example, the other thing is, if you're a Scorpio rising, in your second house of things that support you in your physical body, Sagittarius here, taking care of the Sagittarius part of your body, supports your health. If you're a Cancer rising like myself, you're going to have Sagittarius in your sixth house. And this is about the best way for you to manage your health. But there's so many different ways, because certain parts of the houses, they are angular, they have a lot of power. Planets that you were born with or that's transiting will affect you. Some houses are more prone to more stagnant health issues. Other houses, you can experience repeat health issues. So this is going to be relevant to wherever you have Sagittarius in your chart. You can just listen in to the specific body parts and the recommendations Maria is essentially recommending. I want to say one more thing, and then I'm going to let Maria talk about the physical aspects of things, and then I'll be layering on to the other stuff. But you'll hear Maria talking specifically for Sagittarius risings about the primary reflexes. And when Maria's talking about this, she's talking about the angular houses, the first, fourth, seventh, and 10th house. So the seventh house is the house that's farthest away from you, Sag risings. And so what this means is it opposes you. So any planets or the zodiac sign here, those health issues can affect you. And then the houses, the fourth and 10th house, this is at a 90-degree angle, and these are challenging aspects as well. So even though all of the houses can potentially negatively affect you, these are the areas where there's special consideration you want to make so you can really prioritize what to manage, what to support in order to take preventative measures in order to best support you. So that's pretty much my intro, and we're ready to hear what you have to say whenever you're ready, Maria.
Well, I'm ready. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this session. As Jaymie already mentioned, Sagittarius season. Well, I want to actually add something quickly, because even if the house is empty in the chart, I have my 9th house is empty. I had no planets, nothing in there. But still, I got about 2 years ago a problem with my Sagittarius, which is actually a classic issue, health issue about Sagittarius. But just this to mention as a side note. So even if a house is empty, that means it has still a meaning when transits are touching Sagittarius, even if you're not a Sagittarius. So okay, I hope this makes sense. Sagittarius, a mutable sign, fire sign, and the ruler, of course, is Jupiter and the 9th house. Anatomical, it's the pituitary gland. I mention as well sometimes it's full-ruling, so it's not just one, it's not just Jupiter, it's Saturn and Pluto. Then parathyroid gland as well here with Pluto and Saturn. The basal ganglia with Uranus is part of the brain. Then the right hemisphere in the brain, the right. Then the liver with Pluto, Pluto. The thyroid gland as well with Pluto. The sciatic nerve, the classic, with Corolla, Uranus, and Mercury, because actually the fact our sciatic nerve is as big as our thumb normally. For each one of you, you can imagine how big it is. Usually afflictions in Sagittarius affect the hip and the thigh, including the femur, which is the longest bone that we have in our body. Then, of course, the sciatic nerve, then several different muscles, the piriformis, the gemellus, the gluteus, which is the butt. Normally, Sagittarius, if I may say so, they have beautiful butts. They have
you guys do have a nice ass on Julie and Kiki.
Very well formed butt. Then the tensor fascia lata and the palmistry. Then the vertebra levels ruled by Sagittarius are the 10th and 11th thoracic. Okay, and of course Sagittarius, I have to mention that not because it's a fire sign, but Sagittarius is actually, to be perhaps, the most prone to accidents. Why? They like adventure. They move around to have to see and do everything. Imagine, for example, if we are standing at crossroads and we have to cross on the other side of the street. Sagittarius would be there jumping on the street and going back and say, oh, this is adventurous and this is happy, and it would actually cause an accident, put it this way. Whereas, for example, if we would take a Taurus, I walk on my own pace and nobody is stressing me out, even if the cars have to wait. I don't give a damn. So I'm just saying. So Sagittarius, please make sure that you don't cause any accident. Even if you do parachuting, I don't care what. But you're adventurous in spirit of qualities. You are prone. You are the most prone of the entire zodiac. Okay. Then we have Jaymie was talking about the primary reflectors. Is actually the lungs, arms, and hands. This is in opposition to Sagittarius, which is Gemini. Okay. The secondary, we talk here about secondary reflectors, which is in a square, to the small intestine and liver, which is Virgo, and as well to the feet, Pisces. So I think this you can actually imagine what's here. Physiological, so hormones to the liver, which are it's a very complicated word, but hormones related to the liver, even the hormones of the thyroid, which are T4, we call it T4 and T3, T2 as well, and T1, the monoisothyronine, and so forth. These are all related to Jupiter and the 12th and 9th house. And all processes of energy release within the body cells. We're talking here really on a macro level. Okay, so the hormones of the pituitary gland, which is for Saturn and Pluto in general, are anterior pituitary, the ACTH hormone, then the thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH, it's called the abbreviation, more than likely you have heard about it, and luteinizing hormone, LH. All these hormones are rules of four rules with Jupiter. The follicle stimulating hormone, FSH, with four rule of the moon. Prolactin, when we women have babies, of course, if we are lucky enough, we can give milk to the baby. The growth hormone is as well, it's actually GH. Melanocyte stimulating hormone, MSH. Then we have the posterior pituitary, okay? There is anti-diuretic hormone, H, with hormone of the moon, oxytocin, of course, with Corvula Neptune, and the hormone secreted from the parathyroid, which is P2H. So the liver also naturally produces cholesterol and bile. By the way, the liver has over 500 functions, and we don't talk here because it's very complex. But don't forget as well, the liver is our biggest internal organ and has a very stressful job because all the toxins that go through the liver. It doesn't matter if it's food, if it's whatever, it goes first through the liver. Okay, and the body image is, as I said, complex, that involves many rulers, such as Pluto, the Moon, and Neptune, for example. It's not only one planet involved. It depends on the function that the body has to fulfill. Okay, so that's why when we speak, yes, Jupiter is the ruler of the 9th house, but it's also the ruler of Pisces, the old ruler of this, because the new one is Neptune, and it depends all the time on the function of the organ or the muscle or whatever it is in the body. That's why there are so many co-rulers. The chakra system. This is actually the sacral chakra system with co-ruler Neptune. Additionally, Jupiter correlates with the essential coordination of the entire body and the metabolism of all nutrients that are put into the body. Don't forget, Jupiter is the biggest, largest planet in our solar system, and it makes everything bigger. Doesn't matter what it touches or where it is. So even you have to be careful. It depends as well where Jupiter is in your natal chart, not to overindulge with food, for example. And it really can cause problems afterwards, not only with stomach digestion, but as well with the liver. Many people have a fatty liver, which even if they don't drink alcohol, but it's because of the overindulging of the food, what they inject. Okay, so and because of its association to growth hormone, so as I said, Jupiter is making indulging a thing. This can also then lead to out of control growth, overgrowth. But this is in general, it's not only in context with the liver. Of anything in the body that then can create its own physical issues and symptoms. Doesn't matter what it is, Jupiter touches on it, it can, and if it's already in your physical body, even if it's dormant, it can trigger, for example, even if it's a sort of allergy, I'm just saying, it could create that too. Then this is the most important things about Sagittarius at the moment. I didn't have time to write down as well the herbs, but anything that is bitter, put it this way, to help regulate the liver, which is really the most important or biggest internal organ. Anything that is bitter would help to sustain the liver. So I don't know, Jaymie, if you have to add something, if you want to add something. I don't know where Jaymie is at the moment.
Yes, I have insights to share on my end, but have you covered everything you wanted to cover?
Yes, yes.
Okay, perfect. Kiki did ask about PCOS, so we can talk about that at the end of the call. But what I wanted to talk about is with Sagittarius risings, it's important to remember that whenever we're talking about your health, it starts with you. And so it's really important for you as a Sagittarius, who you are. It's important to be who you are. You guys are here to be optimistic, joyful, generous, inspiring. And so being in this state of mind, being physical, being a fire sign, this is really important. And if life is lifing and it's hard for you to access this energy, being in the environment, going out into nature, specifically the mountains or somewhere that's physically higher in the plane, can be really beneficial. Surrounding yourself in environments that are inspiring and optimistic, astrologers, coaches, travelers. Traveling is a great way to really connect with this energy. And since we're talking about your health, and your first house is also about the best environment for you to get started on something. If you can travel, if you can focus on your personal goals, whenever you're trying to do something, learn to take a step back and be like, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to accomplish? Because Sagittarius is a centaur. It's half human, it's half horse. So you want to incorporate the energy of Sagittarius being about the higher mind, growth mindset. It's got the higher intelligence of humans and the primal instincts and wisdom of animals. And so you want to do this thing where it's like you're constantly elevating yourself. You're looking at things from a growth mindset, but also taking actions and kind of figuring things out along the way, because that's sort of the energy of the fire signs. So this is something that you do want to work with. And Sagittariuses specifically have a bow and arrow because it's designed to aim itself at its goal. So whenever you're trying to start something new, think about what your personal goals are, see things from a higher perspective, develop your growth mindset. These are going to be things that are going to help you to get started. And I do want to emphasize that developing a growth mindset, being able to see things from a bigger perspective, is really going to be beneficial and help you in maintaining your physical health, because it's a part of who you are. Now, the other thing is that those of you who are born with Neptune on the ascendant, such as yourself, Anjali, Some things that can help you is, now it does depend on the aspects that you have and stuff, whether it supports you, but Neptune rules, for example, steaming. And you happen to have a steam sauna in your condo. So this is something that Sagittarius can take advantage of. Neptune, but it does depend, like some people, if you're like women, if you're prone to yeast infections, the environment can be too humid, and you do want to make sure that you're not losing minerals. So you do want to make sure to get your electrolytes, fluids in and stuff. A brand that I really like is Pocari Sweat. It's a Japanese brand. It's very affordable, low sugar. That's something you can do. Neptune also rules your lymphatic system. Maria and I made a really extensive video on the 8 components that make up the immune system, and we cover the lymphatic system, which is a part of it, and we specifically cover massages. So that's something that you can do. And something else I like to do, I'm not great at it though, you guys, is you can take your 2 fingers behind your ear and you make little circles behind your ear. And what this does is it stimulates your vagus nerve. And what it's basically doing is it's draining the toxins that's like accumulating in your brain, because this vagus nerve is connected to your gut. And so all the shit that's in your crap that's in your gut goes to your brain. So really, like, people are taking all these herbs and these supplements to help and pharmaceuticals, but if you aren't getting rid of the toxins in your brain, it's only going to be so effective. So this is something that can be really beneficial here, and I try to do this during every medical astrology call, but we only have them once a month, so I need to get better at it. But this is something that you can do. And in your second house of things that support you in your physical body, you have Capricorn here. Capricorn rules stability and security in your second house of your finances, your food sources, and Capricorn also rules your career. So what really helps Sagittarius is, as much as you're adventurous and you like to explore and stuff, what supports you is to have that sense of security in order to feel safe, in order to feel stabilized, also systemizing your food habits and stuff. This can be something that's really beneficial combined with your 6th house placement. Your 6th house reveals the best way for you to manage your health. And for Sagittarius risings, you have Taurus here. Now, for those of you guys who aren't Sagittarius risings, for Muna, when you're watching the replay, you're a coach. You can use this information when you're working on your business with the 6th house, because this is also your ideal work environment and your daily routines. But with Taurus here, this is to say that it's important to be patient with yourself, because wherever you have Taurus in your chart, the energy always moves the slowest. So you have to give yourself a different timeline when you are setting routines, when you're trying to do things in your work environment, when you're trying to develop daily habits and stuff. It can be that, so Maria found the Sagittarius plant. So once I pause on Sagittarius, Maria will find it for you. I was actually going to find it for you too. And then you're like, do you have anything to say? And I was like, oh shit. Okay. So anyways, so with Taurus, it's important for you to practice patience when it comes to these matters. But what's going to help you with your health is to create a daily routine, to ground yourself, to give yourself extra time, to be consistent, to work with your 5 senses, because this is what Taurus rules. So when it comes to your sight, looking at things that are pleasing for you, something else that's free, anybody can do, but is especially beneficial for Sagittarius is to do lateral eye movements, because this calms the brain down. In this modern age of doom scrolling, which is really stress inducing, doing these lateral movements and looking at things that are related to nature, things that calm you down, is going to be really beneficial. When it comes to smells and scents and stuff, once Maria tells us about the herbs that are the best for Well, actually, she's going to be talking about Sagittarius, but you can also apply this too. But also, herbs that are good for Tauruses can help you as well. And for any of you guys who are interested in our previous videos, you can contact us and you can purchase those specific subscriptions. But basically, when it comes to smell, diffusing essential oils that are good for you are going to be things that can very much help you. And I forgot to mention, for those of you who have Neptune on your ascendant, diffusing, that's a form of steam that you can use as well. And the herbs that Maria mentions, these are things that you can put in your food, in your teas, like you can diffuse it and stuff. For touch, you can literally put it on your body. Taurus rules your throat. Sagittarius rules more the lower extremities. You can put the herb, like you can put essential oils in these areas of your body. As long as it's safe, there's no contraindication or anything. If you, let's see, hearing and stuff, this is listening to music, things that are calming, things that I'm going to talk about it more when I get to the 9th house, but I'm going to eventually pause to let Maria tell you about what the herbs are really quickly. But this is to say that you want to connect with the 5 senses. And did I finish everything? Sight, smell, hearing, touch, wearing clothes that are really comfortable, really luxurious and stuff, and taste. Having food that's really good, grounding, stabilizing for you. These are different things. I'm going to let Maria talk about that a little bit more because she's more knowledgeable about that. But there's different things that you can do. And also another thing similar to your 2nd house of money is you want to stabilize and have some sort of consistent finances that can very much benefit you, because Taurus rules your money in your 6th house of your habits. So oftentimes a lot of Sagittarius risings that experience instability and money can feel a little like uneasy and on edge. So having some sort of consistency here can very much support you. I'm going to take a pause for a moment here, and then I'm going to let Maria talk about the herbs, and then I'll continue to talk about Gemini and other things that support you.
So, Sagittarius plants, the main cheerful, beautiful plant is basil. Even the smell put to like how should I say? You feel happy when I smell basil because I have my own little plant. It's I feel like cheerful. Put it this way. This is the main. It's like Sagittarius as well, cheerful and full of life. Jupiter. This way. Other herbs are mulberry. Then baobab is very very good because baobab has very high amount of vitamin C, natural vitamin C. I think even 100 times more than the normal vitamin C. Then baobab, breadfruit, anise, sage, cinnamon, then blueberry, thistle, as I mentioned, because that helps the liver also to detoxify because it's a little bit bitterish. Nut trees, lemon, all citrus trees in general. Then fig as well. Banana, mango, for example, ironwood, clematis, peony, jasmine, nutmeg, but this nutmeg, I don't, well, you have to, you don't need every day nutmeg so you can cause intoxication. Mint tea, for example, date, plum, then guava, maple, tea, bird of paradise, heliconia, shabby ginger as well. But basil is really the main one, and I would suggest thistle. I wanted to add up something, Jaymie, concerning Neptune. I have seen with many people which have Neptune on descendant. Most of the time, we cannot understand what the cause of an illness might be. It's very confusing. It's like really hidden. You have to go and have a look in every little single corner of what it could be. Especially with Pisces, I have noticed they have Neptune on the ascendant, you can be sure that they have always allergies. I'm just saying, depends where Neptune is on your ascendant, if it's on the ascendant, but especially on the ascendant, regardless of the sign, it's very, very difficult to give a diagnosis. It's almost impossible because you don't know the cause of this. It can be 100 different symptoms, but you cannot pinpoint exactly which one it might be. I don't know if you have had things like that as well with your clients.
Absolutely. And Maria's totally right. The only part I disagree with her on is you're like, you can't really find out she can find out the cause, you guys. She's got Venus in her 12th house Pisces. So, I'll tell people when I think, I'll call you out when I think you're full of shit. So it is generally very, very hard. And my clients can also tell you that even with their Neptune on the ascendant, I've been able to give them information. Thanks for stopping by, Anjali. And you'll get the recording. If you do have any questions, you can either comment before you go, or you can text it to me, and we'll answer your question. Thank you for attending. But yes, so it's definitely a thing. It's very hard, but the reason why. That's why I actually say that if you have Neptune on your ascendant, you should absolutely get a medical astrology reading, because Maria is the type of person who can get information, because I've had clients too. And like, you're right in that, like, with other clients, I can just laser in and be like, this is what it is. With Neptune, it's a little bit spread out, but they're also not expecting you to just have that one singular answer anyways. They're just going to be happy that like you gave them any information that's accurate. So, it's one of those things, you're being overly picky, like, and you're being a perfectionist. Like, if we can figure out 2 to 3 causes, 5 causes, honestly, we're good. It's not that serious.
Well, I'm just saying because I have had situations like that, so it's very confusing to be even focused and using really your brain in the sense, what could it really be? Yes, I have 3 choices, but which one is the right one? It can be all of them, because we see the body as sections. Okay, this is wrong because it's one entire system, and this entire system is working together with all the rest of the body. Yes, the brain is the one that sees everything. He's the computer. He like in an airport, and they look like the control tower and try to that everything functions as it should function without accidents and so forth. So if the brain doesn't function, we will have a little bit of a trouble.
Yeah. So what I do in those situations is I layer on horary astrology, which is a branch of astrology. We can ask specific questions to get specific answers. And when I'm uncertain, I look at the chart to see which treatment will best benefit this client. So if any of you guys have Neptune on the ascendant, I don't want you to feel discouraged and stuff, because I have a tendency to overcompensate. So there's always like ways to figure this out. But yes, Maria's right. There's definitely more confusion going on, but that's where astrology as a astrological guidance can be so beneficial. But going back to what I was mentioning about Sagittarius risings, and also anyone who's a coach or is trying to pursue their personal goals and wants to create this environment, you can incorporate the things that I've mentioned in the 6th house, but also the next sign is always the resource of the previous sign. So when it comes to Sagittarius risings who wants to maintain your health in your 6th house, you want to look at the next sign, which is Gemini in your 7th house opposing you, and you can work with this energy. So Gemini is about your nervous system. It's about breathing. It's about your voice. It rules the hands. So something that you can do is doing chants, for example, doing mudras, especially if you're a Sagittarius rising that has planets mostly in water signs. You have like some spiritual placements in your chart. These are things that you can experiment with to see how it supports you. And in another area, so I'm going to be talking about 2 more areas that can benefit you, is because Sagittarius risings. Now, all of us, depending on the time that we're born, determines what zodiac sign is on our ascendant. But traditionally speaking, Sagittarius belongs to the 9th house. So the 9th house has Sagittarian qualities. So you can take a look at your 9th house here, or if you're trying to set personal goals, if you're a coach, an astrologer, something that you can do is you can look at where Leo is in your chart. And essentially, what this means is, in order for you to really connect with yourself, making sure that you have a growth mindset is really important. So working with your Leo placement here is essential through inspiration, through creativity and stuff. When you're trying to set your personal goals, when you're feeling disconnected to yourself, or you just want to continue to expand, learning from astrologers, coaches, teachers that are successful, that inspire you. Listening to audiobooks. This is one of the things that you can do as one of the the 5 senses I mentioned to ground your energy. Listening to audiobooks of successful, creative, inspirational people talking about the growth mindset. These are things that can really benefit you. Now, another thing I do want to mention is, because I have a Scorpio stellium and a strong 8th house, which is connected to Scorpio, I tend to attract a lot of people that have heavy Scorpios in their charts. And Sagittarius risings are ruled by such a joyful sign, but in your 12th house of your fears, your vulnerabilities, your subconscious, unconscious mind, your psychological development, you have the sign that rules trauma here. It also rules your 12th house of sleep. So something I've noticed is that a lot of Sagittarius risings, especially if you have planets here, or there's a cluster of planets going into Scorpio, these are people who have a hard time sleeping. And so I want to talk specifically about this because it's been such a common thing. I've had so many clients asking me about this, is that one of the things that I prioritize is, I call it my 4 pillars of health in order of importance: breathing, sleep, nutrition, body movement. So the breathing I already mentioned during Gemini. There's different breathing techniques that you can do that's outside of the scope of this class, but you can explore with what works for you. And sleep hygiene is so important. And also helping to process your traumas. If you want to know about the best way for you to process your traumas, I do have a free video I made talking about the best way for each rising sign to process their traumas on my YouTube channel. So once you get this recording, if you want to get access to that video, comment below and I'll send it to you. I'll just leave it, I'll leave it in the comments for you. But the other thing is that when you're trying to sleep, a lot of times Scorpios, there's so much fear around sleeping, because sleep is the most vulnerable thing. We have cellular memory in our DNA. Evolutionarily speaking, sleeping can put us at risk. An animal can maul us, someone can kill us. So it can be really scary sometimes for Sagittarius risings to sleep, and that affects the rest of your body. And so one of the things that's important is, when you're trying to fall asleep, it's important for your body to feel warm, and because this signals a sense of safety. Oftentimes the general information you hear is you want to be warm and you want the environment around you to be cold. But what I've personally found is people who have really aggressive, and you see Maria, like, she's shaking her head. And this is why, as medical astrologers, Maria and I, we don't like the general shit, because we're like, okay, first of all, that depends. And this is exactly why I'm fucking bringing this up, you guys, is that for people who have a fear of sleeping, warmth signals safety. The cold signals threat to our body. And this is why in colder environments, people have a shorter mortality rate. So what I actually recommend, contrary to conventional recommendation, is I would say experiment with sleeping with a heater in your spine, like in your back, and get warm. Now, this also helps you because When your body is warm, your brain cools down. And when your brain cools down and your body is warm, this is the optimal thermal environment to promote sleep. But a lot of people, if you're an overthinker as a Sagittarius rising, if you have a lot of activity in your Scorpio, you are constantly overthinking, it's actually harder for your body to cool down your brain. So you want to put extra effort into heating your body. Okay, I'm glad you mentioned that, Kiki, because I was actually thinking of Anjali. So Kiki said, but I get so hot at night. So yeah, and I know Anjali experiences that too. So with you, I do have some recommendations, but I knew, so Maria commented, I want to add on this, and I'm glad that you're going to do that, because in my mind, I was thinking, Anjali, I know her body overheats. And so I figured you'll mention this. So yeah, Maria's will talk about that, but this is really to say that you want to create an environment that's really optimal. So this is my recommendation, is more specifically for people whose body does run cold. So I'll continue to give those recommendations, and then Maria will give recommendations for people who run hot and wants to, whatever information she wants to add on. But some things you can do are take baths, steam saunas, and stuff. The other thing is, if you feel unsafe, you have water dominant signs. I've noticed this a lot with also like people who have Scorpio and lots of planets in their 12th house, and their moon is in Cancer. Your moon is your physical body. You have planets in your water signs. These are people that like when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're feeling sensitized, the color black is a form of protection. It also is ruled by Saturn, which is about protection. So you can try experimenting with wearing black PJs, something that can help you feel more protected and stuff. Having visualizations, guided meditations on swamps, Scorpio rules the swamps and stuff. These are things that can help you. One of my best friend's daughter in her room has like this beautiful art piece in this circular flat like plate with sand with different stones that she got from the desert. These are things that are ruled by Scorpio, and it's really beautiful. The sand is Saturn, and it's in her bedroom. You basically want to create a scorpionic environment in your 12th house, which is also kind of about your bedroom. You still have to do the work. You're obviously not going to be able to just, decorate your place and expect things to, magically correct itself. But these are added layers and tools that you can do to support you. Something I do want to mention about the black PJs, though, is for those of you who resonate with feng shui, especially if you have like strong Saturn in your chart, there are color, depending based on when you're born. You don't need to know the time of your birth, just your month and day and year. There are certain colors that are favorable, certain colors that aren't. So if black isn't favorable for you, then I wouldn't necessarily recommend this, but this is something that you can try out. I have more recommendations, but I want Maria to talk about the stuff that she wants to add before you forget first.
Well, Jaymie, even in today's phase, it has to do with boundaries, because our physical body remains here. We have this silver cord, if we want to get not esoteric, but I mean, it has to do something with and more consciousness. It's a silver cord that is bound to our body as long as we are here on this planet, okay? And in ancient times, the silver cord was as well when it's cut, you go to the other side, you cross over. Sometimes people have as well issues with boundaries. You have to set boundaries. When during the day, it's sometimes very difficult, and they have at night issues with boundaries. How shall I put them? How shall I work with these boundaries? I don't even have boundaries. I'm just saying. This is a very important aspect. I don't go with mainstream as you do, because it doesn't work for everybody. Each one has to find out for itself what is the best method to calm myself down. It can be music. It can be, I have a light that is actually like flames if you want, so it's reflecting on the ceiling. It comes down. You should have not too much light as well to sleep well. What I give to my patients is a blend of my products that I do myself. I give them magnesium L-threonate and selenium combined, as well with a lavender. It's herbal mix only. I mean, the magnesium is not herbal, but magnesium L-threonate has to be, because it calms you really down. I have tried it myself. You can even take CBD drop, calm you down. It's also another possibility, but you have to it's not only the environmental thing around you, it's the mindset, because we overthink all the time. Keep things simple. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, like Leonardo da Vinci was saying. We overcomplicate everything. If you feel comfortable, if it's dark in your room, then it's fine. You have more possibility to sleep better. People that feel hot flashes and this and that, I would suggest as well that you leave your window, if it's possible, depending on where you live, that you leave a little bit of the window open, even if it's just a little bit, because you have to get fresh air. If you're sleeping in a room the entire night with always the same air, you will be, when you wake up, you can't sleep properly, and when you wake up, you're still very fatigued. You need oxygen, you need fresh air. Okay, we used to have here, when it was a couple of weeks ago, it was so cold during the night. It was about -3 degrees. I don't care. I leave a very small part of that window open to get this fresh air. So people that feel cold as well, because you mentioned something, and I saw like a picture, the adrenal gland. You have to cover the adrenal gland. Why? Because the adrenal glands are the ones that actually cause the fight and flight. You have to high cortisol, you're stressed, and cortisol is number one hormone. That's why you have as well trouble to sleep. So that means if you keep your adrenals warm, I'm not saying that you have to overheat, but just warm, and your legs, you can leave them outside so you're not overheating. But it's important that the adrenal glands are covered, that they are warm. Believe me, I have had myself, because normally I have that issue. I get very warm on my legs. I start to boil. I don't ask me why. I'm just saying. And I leave my legs out, for example, but my adrenals are always covered, because otherwise you will get trouble with bladder. I do have to get up 20 times at night just to go to the toilet. I'm just saying. And as I said, magnesium L-threonate, that helps you to calm down the nervous system, and especially brain.
That's a good idea. Yeah, like exposing the lower leg extremities as a way to cool down, but still heat up your upper body and stuff.
Yep.
And Crystal, Kiki, for you and Anjali, anyone else who whose body may be overheating, maybe you don't need a heater. You know, these are just options that I'm recommending if you're naturally already warm. Yeah,
fresh air. They need fresh
absolutely.
air.
Yeah, absolutely. So these are going to be things that you can experiment with. I hope you're not one of those people who are like scared about like the monster coming and grabbing your legs and stuff like that, you know? Like I knew someone who was like, I am a grown ass woman with 2 sons, and she's like, I'm so hot, and when I expose my feet, I'm thinking, what if the monster under my bed gets me? And it's just like, it's so funny. So but yeah, it is that's an option. So I do like that. I did have a question for you, Maria, about the magnesium. because is this better than magnesium glycinate? Yes.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
But
Because magnesium L-threonate, I have tried it now since several months with all my clients, okay? And they told me it's working much better. But it's even, there are studies on it. Glycinate, it does come other things, but L-threonate is surpassing actually the brain barrier. It works differently than, there are 7 different types of magnesium. L-threonate is the one that goes through the brain barrier, so the synapses and all neurons, they can talk better to each other, but it calms down.
absolutely. So yeah, no, it is definitely, it has an absorption. There's a lot of research that's been done on it and stuff. But the other thing, and this is the question that I have for you, Maria, is that because magnesium is absorbed most transdermally, is there a topical form of the L-threonate magnesium? I
This
don't know.
I don't know, because I mean, you
Okay,
can,
'cause
there
I
are
had
so many things. I think I have seen somewhere,
okay.
but I tell you already in advance, it takes longer because it doesn't go through the bloodstream.
Yeah,
Okay, you have to be aware of that. It doesn't matter what you put on the skin, the thermal patches, for example. It takes much longer to have an impact because it's outside of the body. And don't
yeah,
forget, even our skin is still a barrier.
absolutely.
The biggest or external organ, because it's the biggest external organ is our skin, it's still a barrier.
Definitely. So I'm going to use the interjection of magnesium to talk about the next point that I'm going to mention. So yes, even though the form that Maria and I are talking about is the best form of magnesium, if you're, for example, experiencing constipation, magnesium citrate is the one that can help. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I know a lot of Sagittarius risings who, when they have a heavy Scorpio, when they're experiencing trauma, when they're feeling vulnerable and stuff like that, there can be issues related with constipation. And Maria knows my story. I've had a recent incident and I've experienced some psychic residue. So I've been like freakishly obsessed about poop lately. And so magnesium citrate is the one that most effectively, well, technically magnesium oxide is the most effective, but it's a little bit more aggressive. Magnesium citrate is gentler and will help you to release some of your bowel movements. But the reason why I bring this up is because, oh my God, I have so many side quests. I'm like side rats of like, where do I start the story? Okay, so I bring this up because shit, defecation, anus, these are ruled by Scorpio. And when you're talking about like constipation and stuff, even though magnesium citrate helps, if you have stuck fecal matter in your rectum, this is like the magnesium supplements help to clear your colon and your intestine, not necessarily the trapped stuff in your anus and your rectum. And so the reason why I'm bringing this discussion up is because when you're experiencing trauma, it's like literally like there's this shit that you need to like release, right? Scorpio is a water sign, and the 12th house is about letting go. But when you are hoarding, which is like basically what happens when you're constipated, you're hoarding poop. This is the energy of your Taurus. Like if you're having a hard time letting go, if you're having problems and you're tense and stuff, these are some issues that people can experience. And a little side rant, Maria, I'm going to share this because those of you who guys are watching, you guys maybe might experience this and it could help you. Is a few months back, I called Maria in total distress, acting like I had ever fucking experienced constipation in my life, acting like it's the end of the world. I'm like, what's causing this? I'm just not used to it. And so she was telling me, because, Maria has an amazing medical background. She's also very psychic. And she was like, there's a reason that this is happening and you're aware of the reason. You just don't know what it is. And I'm like, fuck does that mean? Right. And a couple weeks ago, I actually had an epiphany about this, and it's very astrological in nature. And this is something I can see in multiple signs, but especially Sagittarius risings, is that I'm an astrologer, you guys, at a wonderful hotel in Bangkok. So if you guys want to get a live reading, it's the only place that I'm offering live sessions, but it's also at a hotel. So during low travel season, I wasn't getting as many clients. And so I started hoarding my money, right? That's what I was doing. I was hoarding the food that I have and stuff. And so, and I had this fear and stuff. And then eventually it just wasn't sustainable. And so I let it go, and I just started like spending money again. And that's actually when my bowel movements returned. I just didn't know why that was actually happening until like a couple weeks ago, even though that happened a few months ago. So sometimes there could be like some psychosomatic reasons with constipation where it's like, are you hoarding on to something? What are problems that you're not letting go of? Yeah, Kiki, it's really interesting, right? If you're comfortable with it, you can let us know which direction you lean towards, and I can share some insights with you. But yeah, this is one of those things where you can look at these matters. And something that like people don't tell you is that actually sleep hygiene is greater, is more important in helping you regulate your bowel movements and constipation more than fiber. Because when you are constipated, you're basically experiencing sluggishness. Think of it like, like you're like tired. What do you need to do when you're tired? Sleep, right? And there are certain bacteria that are active during different times of the day. And so when you're not sleeping properly, your circadian rhythm is off, your motility is off, and this can also contribute to constipation as well, which I've found to be a common thing with Sagittarius risings. And since Sagittarius risings are so generous, it's one of the signs that rule luxuries, and your chart ruler Jupiter rules luxury and stuff. So many Sagittarius risings will just throw money at things, and it just doesn't work because sometimes it just goes down to the root causes. And Maria just commented in the chat box, for those of you guys who are watching the replay on this who won't be able to see it, is most health issues are psychosomatic in nature. And yes, every health issue, physical ailment, is rooted in something emotional, psychological, and or spiritual in nature. So these are things to basically be aware of. And it's so interesting because oftentimes people will be like, oh, I'm constipated, like I'm gonna like take fiber, and these things don't necessarily work, because if you're backed up, you're now giving your body an extra assignment to do something it's not effectively able to do. And sometimes the root of it is, and this is why I mentioned in my 4 pillars of health, breathing is the number one thing for me. I could think there's so many people I know who delegate the solution to CBDs and herbs and this and that. But it's like, if you're not breathing properly, if you're not sleeping properly, these things are going to be ineffective because the body isn't going to be able to properly metabolize these things. So some of the things that you can do, for example, is to reset your circadian rhythm, because Sagittarius do have a hard time sleeping, is waking up first thing in the morning and going outside in the sun, but also where you have Leo in your chart. And again, this is also something if you're trying to set your personal goals, if you're a coach, you're working from home and stuff like that, you want to be in the flow of Sagittarius as a coach. You can do this as well. Is Leo's, Sagittarius risings, you have a Leo in your 9th house. This is the hours between 2 to 4 p.m. Leo rules the sun. I recommend that you go out into the sun during this time, expose your spine a little bit, and this can help to regulate your circadian rhythm, your hormone productions, things of that nature. Maria wants to add something, which is great because I just pretty much finished. But I do also, in addition to that, Maria, let's see. Kiki had questions about PCOS and spinal issues. And Muna wanted to ask about headaches / adult acne. So those are questions that I do want to address for them. But yeah.
Well, thing is with health, we have spoken about this, I don't know how many times,
I'm
Jaymie.
kind of having a hard time hearing you sometimes, Maria. I don't know if you are too, Kiki.
Is it better because I have not changed anything on my microphone? Can you hear me better now?
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's clear, right? Okay, Kiki was saying the mic is muffled. Okay, say something.
So I wanted to mention, we have spoken about this several times. This is your only body. Otherwise, we would not be here. We would not be able to move on this planet. Okay, it's your responsibility. I can tell you whatever I want to. You have to work. I mean, you in general. I say it even to my children. I can tell them, well, you should take this and that and the other. Yes, but it's as well the inner work. You mentioned it, you can take any headset you want, but most of the time it's abstracted somatic nature. Even an accident is abstracted somatic. Not because you wanted the accident, but the universe, or however we want to call it, wants to say, hey, slow down, slow down, slow down, because you're overwhelmed with whatever, but we ignore it all the time. This is our problem. Because I know myself, it's okay, I carry on. You remember about my finger, what I put on my finger, just to carry on when I was moving. And I have a beautiful scar because of that, because I put, if you remember, the glue, just because I had nothing. I'm just saying, I am responsible for my, whatever I do with my body, with my mind. I can be miserable if I want to, doesn't change anything at all. Or I can decide, well, I have to get action. I have to do something. I can't sit here and wait until, I don't know, this card comes down from the cloud and tells me what to do. No, actually. So it's both. It's, of course, medication does help, but you have to do as well the inner work. To, try to understand where is the problem? What is wrong with me? Besides that, the body response. Well, you have either an allergy, or you have acne, or you have, I don't know, the tooth is hurting, or you have a lumbago or sciatica, and what is the real cause? I mean, the spiritual, the psychological cause. Okay.
Absolutely. So, um, I want to start with, since Kiki has been on the call with us longest, thank you so much for staying on the call with us. She wanted to know about PCOS and spinal issues. I'm just going to quickly look at your chart to look at and prioritize which is actually more prevalent for you. Just give me a moment here.
Spinal could be Leo, because Leo rules the spine. Which level is it?
Yeah, she has both planets here, but yeah, let's talk about the spine. There's more stuff going on with the spine in her chart. So I hope you're comfortable with me saying this, Kiki. She has Mars on her, she's Sagittarius rising with Mars in Leo.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But
so
that could help in
squares her squares her chart ruler right there, squares Pluto. So, you know.
Pluto as a square, I
Yeah,
see.
exactly. Her moon is in Scorpio. So I'm sorry, that's that after that I'm done sharing your chart information. I think Kiki's okay. I think she's comfortable with this. But yeah, so any insights for her? I mean, we're looking at spinal inflammation, lower leg extremity stuff.
Well, I'm more concerned about Leo because Mars is in Leo, but in general it should help, because as well Leo is the sign of spirit, where it has Saturn.
Her Saturn is in Pisces, 4th house.
For health. So as I said, I come back that
Oh, and sorry to interrupt. Hygeia is in 3-degree Capricorn. another bone spinal thing.
No, no, another bone spinal
Yeah.
stuff, but also cardiovascular system, and it's it's also the spinal curve, how we stand,
Yeah.
we work like this, and also teachers innovated with the fifth and cervical nerves roots. It's actually more to do with not only the physical structure as the bones, but the innervation of the nerve. It's what I get here, because sometimes the reflexes anyway are either to in opposition to Aquarius with the lower leg or the ankles. Then we have the throat, the neck, and the sex organs. So it has to do with
Kiki, I'm sorry to interrupt, is saying that she does have nerve issues.
nerve issues.
Yeah, and her Mercury is in Aquarius, and Uranus and Neptune is in the same house with Hygeia. So these are all interconnected here.
I would what I having because I don't have any chart anything, but I would look more on the nervous system, not the bone structure as such, because if there is Uranus and Neptune and Hygeia anyway, I would concentrate really on sympathetic nerves, for example, and not only the spinal curve, or actually the bone. It's more the nervous system with her. She has to calm down the nervous system.
So yeah, actually her Mercury and Mars oppose each other. So your Mercury is your nervous system, Mars is overworking and stuff like that. So this is something that you do want to be careful with. I'm trying to think here.
Yeah, but Uranus, for example, because Uranus, okay, Mercury is part of it because the body is both. The nervous system is more Uranus. Okay, we have to be very careful. Yes, Mercury is the lower octave of Uranus, but the one that I really look at is a Uranus. Where does it sit?
It conjuncts Uranus conjuncts her sun, which is also in Aquarius. So there's already this like huge theme here. So the first thing I would look at, I'm trying to think right now. So the thing, Kiki, with when it comes to your nervous system is people tend to, there's something called the window of tolerance. This is like essentially your sweet spot. And then when there's a dysregulation, you're either hyper or hypo. So in order to make this clearer, hyper is when you have an oversensitized nervous system, and then hypo is when you're a little bit more disassociated. And this happens when you're so overwhelmed that your body just kind of like disconnects and it's just like, okay, I'm tapping out kind of thing. So depending on the state that you're in, there are certain nervous system regulating exercises that you can do. And there's different resources where like you can do nervous system regulations throughout the day. In the beginning of the day, you want to do things that either ground or activate your energy. If you're feeling wiry and restless, you want to move that energy more, do more stimulating body movements and stuff. If you're calm first, you can do grounding exercises and then still activate to stimulate your energy to start off in the middle, to start off the beginning of your day. And then midday, you can kind of check to see how you are. Are you feeling sensitized? Are you feeling disassociated? And there's too much that I won't be able to cover during this call, but this is to say that you can do your own research and look at like which somatic nervous system regulating techniques are designed either for hypersensitized or disassociated, and you can incorporate some of those midday, something that's very mild that you can do a couple minutes. And then at night, it's about restorative energy that you can do. You want to do these like small little incremental things so that you retrain your body in order to really regulate your nervous system throughout the day, so you kind of get a sense of how you feel. So yes, Maria also recommended that you take at least 100 milligrams of vitamin B6. The brand that I was recommending to you, Kiki, they do have I believe it's called the B- complex. This is something that's also going to help with you. And something else that I've noticed is that, like, when there's like back issues and stuff like that, and it's psychosomatic in nature, Mars rules Scorpio, which is your 12th house of your psychological detriment, your subconscious, unconscious mind. It also rules endings where your moon is, which represents your physical body. So this is telling me that your spine is getting inflamed because it wants you to fucking stop. It is dissolving your energy. You're getting overwhelmed and stuff. So the thing is, Mars rules action as well. When you're taking the right action, you're going to be inspired. You're going to feel confident. You're going to feel energized. When you start crashing, this is where you're going to kind of know, okay, this isn't something that's benefiting me. You want to kind of take a step back. And what's going to help you to get clear on this is, because this is happening in your 9th house, it's about seeing things from a higher perspective. Kind of look at like what's supporting you, what's not. Get into the habit of kind of seeing things by stepping away in order to get a sense of what's going on.
What's that ascendant is that, Kiki? Sagittarius.
Sagittarius rising, yes.
Where is her Jupiter?
On her ascendant. She's a 3-planet stellium: Pluto, Jupiter, and Venus. Yeah. So it's like ruler of her 6th house, ruler of her 12th house, ascendant ruler on the ascendant. Kiki, what this basically means is your 12th house that rules your physical body. That planet is in the house that rules, or in the house that rules your physical body. The planet that rules your 6th house is the best way for you to manage your health is here, as well as the planet that rules your physical body. And this means that the planet, what the planets also represent specific things in your body. And so it also, this tells you like the health issues related to these planets. This tells you where you might trap physical traumas and stuff. This is why we're asking these questions, in order to best support you.
Okay, thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it make sense? But I would be looking or actually concentrate more, Kiki, on your nervous system. Try not to overdo everything, because you are actually overtaking. You try to overtake yourself. I don't know if you can imagine that. Like on a
totally overdoes things.
No, it's funny.
And you want to overtake yourself and do 1,000 things, and at the end you are doing perhaps not even the half, and feel depleted and frustrated.
Yeah. I just actually this week was like, I need to regulate my nervous system. Literally like 5 days ago. I was like, I'm not sure what stuff to take. And then Jaymie messaged me about this this like online thing, and then now you guys are giving me the best advice. I know you said about taking B6.
Yes.
Do I take the B6 with the B12? Is there like a combo one, or do I take it separately?
Well, I wrote B6 why, because B6, only B6. You can take as well a combo, but I take when I don't forget, because I preach it to others, but I forget myself. I'm honest. B6 is done for our nervous system, especially for us women. We need more than
so B6 and then the magnesium L thing.
Yeah.
L-threonate and B12 is anyway. B12 is essential. That is absolutely vital.
Well, and B12, okay. So all
Yes,
those three, yeah.
You want to take both, but what Maria is saying is you don't want to take it where like one supplement contains both of them. So you want to have separate ones. So the brand that I recommended for you, Kiki, which any of you guys that are watching, is Seeking Health, because this is a brand that's designed specifically for neurodivergence. And Kiki, can you mute yourself? I think there's some background noise.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, thank you. And so there's a brand that's designed specifically for neurodivergence, and it's designed to metabolize more effectively than a lot of the conventional forms. So there's two things. There's the Seeking Health, and there's a specific product called B minus, which is a combination with B6 and other stuff, but not B12. And then there's the Seeking Health hydroxyl vitamin B12 that I was also recommending for you. This is the one that I got Anjali on, and she absolutely loved it. So this is
never take cobalamin, but methylcobalamin. It's B12, so it's already it goes straight into the bloodstream, doesn't go through or first onto the liver, and then it changes in a form that it can be used by the body. Okay.
Yeah, because what Maria's talking about is that the conventional form, the common form of vitamin B12 is called methylcobalamin. Maria's talking about cobalamin. And so it basically, the common form, it doesn't metabolize properly in neurodivergence, so it overloads our liver. And this is something that, you know, I had mentioned in your chart, where detoxifying your liver is particularly important for you. So you want to be especially mindful with your physical body. Being a Sagittarius rising, you're ruled by the liver and stuff. I do recommend that you check out the free video that Maria and I created, where we talk about the kind of detoxes that are beneficial as well. But I do believe that, but I also covered them in our consultation as well. Oh, but I also want to make sure that we cover, Anjali hasn't written her question, but Muna has. So she wanted to know either about headaches or adult acne. I'm more inclined to look at her. Are you, is everything clear for you, Kiki? Okay, perfect.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
Of course. So for any of you guys who have any question about headaches, one of our callers was asking about this. She asked about headaches or adult acne. I'm inclined to focus more on the headaches. She is a Scorpio rising. And headache, are we looking at Aries? I mean, that's her 6th house. Mars is, where's Mars? Where's Mars? Oh my God, why can't I find it? Oh, 8th house Gemini, nervous system regulation, trauma processing. Okay, so basically what I mentioned for Kiki, you could follow that same method for nervous system regulation, processing your traumas. I actually have a free video that I made, which comment below when you're watching this video and I'll send it to you. It's a free video. You guys are all welcome to check it out. And I talk about the best way for each rising sign to process your traumas. And in that one, I give more specialized information. This is actually going to be the thing that helps you with your headache, because your chart is indicating that the headache is caused by nervous system overstimulation, which is also rooted in your traumas.
But as well, Jaymie, besides that,
Hormones.
headache can be caused not all the time, not only the overthinking and this and that. You can even actually feel either the weather. I am one of them. I can tell you already in advance if it's raining, snowing, whatever, because when not the temperature has nothing to do, but when it changes in the air, there are changes. It can be blue sky, beautiful weather, and I tell it will rain. You will say yes, of course, you laugh at me, but we feel it. We have full material of that. And another thing is when your body is always saturated with acid. Say you have too much acid as well in your stomach. This acid doesn't remain with there; it goes up to the brain, and that can cause as well headache. Okay, this is as well from the Ayurvedic point of view. If it's too acidic, it goes up to the brain. I mean, the body said, "Alarm! Mayday! Mayday! Can't you do anything? Please help!" Especially because besides burn, the foremost in the 8,000 and so forth, and because many people have as well issues with the nervous system. It's just overloaded, and you don't let it go. I mean, not you, but most people don't let it go. and they give themselves the fault. It's always my fault. It's not the other one's fault, but we actually the other way around. It's not always our fault. Even if we are humble and we try to look inside of us, but the thing that gets inflicted on us, in us, and they remain, because I was telling it this to somebody, you can see the scar that I have on my skin, but you cannot see the scar that I have inside of me. And that is more, has more weight than the scar on my skin.
Yeah,
So you have to work on both, right?
absolutely.
But the acidity is the blood, because I talk about the blood, not the urine.
Yeah,
blood
there
is
is there is Pluto on her ascendant squaring the moon, so that's also playing a role. Absolutely.
Yeah, she is over acidic already. But I'm talking about blood. If the blood is too acidic, it can be very dangerous as well, believe me. It's a ketoacidosis in the worst case scenario. You have to look what you eat, really, because so you can regulate the acidity that is in your body, because afterwards you get inflammation. If the inflammation, if it's not recognized, it's chronic. And then what then? To fix it is even more difficult. To try to prevent it. I feel that she has, this is just intuitive, by the way, that she is on the way to have different sorts of inflammation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So one of the things that you can do is, so also just, I need to say this before I get distracted, is the ruler of our second house, along with Venus, also food is in Leo. So for you, it's really important for you to have also like the best food as well and stuff. But some of the things that you can do that I really like doing for acidic blood, particularly like when there's like overstimulation with like Leo, like when Mars went into Leo like is one of the things that rule the blood is fine. There's multiple things that rule different stuff. And one of the things that I like tend to recommend to my clients that works really well is you can get like these packets of Chinese herbal soups that have all of the herbs already in there, that is designed to purify and cleanse your blood and stuff. You can also take them after your period, and after your period, and it restores your like blood loss as well, which is your chart is indicating that you do kind of want to fortify that. But some things that you can do to basically get the acidity out of your blood to kind of alkalize is going to be something that supports you.
That is very, very, very important, because it's not just affecting the head, it's affecting the entire system, the entire body.
Yeah. The reason why you're feeling it the most in your head, and this is for anyone who's a Scorpio rising that may be experiencing this, is that in your 6th house of your health, you have Aries, which rules the head. So you may notice it a little bit more here. And, you know, this is an oversimplified thing. There's other stuff in the chart, but like that's also playing a role. So like, this is to say that, like, you know, if you assume it's just the head and then you just focus on the remedies, that's the head, then you're going to kind of miss the root cause of it. But for anyone who's a Scorpio rising, as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, you have Sagittarius in your 2nd house. So supporting your Sagittarius with the things that we mentioned is actually ultimately going to support you and your physical body. So you can actually benefit from everything that pretty much significantly a lot of the things that we covered. And what else was I going to say? The ruler of your 1st house, which is your physical body, and the ruler of your 6th house, and the best way to manage your health, is ruled by the same planet. They're interconnected. So while Aries rules the top of the head and Scorpio rules specific organs, with Scorpio being in your 1st house, it's actually about your whole body. So that's something that I want you to remember, is that it's not just this like one area up here. And this is for anyone who is a Scorpio rising.
Anyway, as well, as we mentioned before, Jaymie, it's always whole ruler. It's not just Jupiter. Yes, he's the main, he's the boss, but there are other planets involved, because I mean there are many up there, and they are not just for fun or because of a mistake. So they are all involved. Like we are all 12 signs in our body.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Muna, the other thing that you can do to help cleanse your blood and also with like heavy period flow, there's actually better herbs, but I can't think of them right now.
Hibiscus is against.
That's what I was gonna say. Okay, because the reason why is because the ruler of your second house, which supports your physical body, Jupiter is in Leo, and Leo's rule hibiscus. And one of my besties is a hibiscus, and is a Leo rising with Venus here. And also we live in Thailand and Bangkok, and they have a lot of like we call it roselle here. For some of you guys, you'll know it as hibiscus. Some of you'll know it as jamaica, but it's a beautiful red flower and it helps with periods. It also helps with regulating your body temperature and stuff if you tend to overheat and stuff, or you're in like a really hot place. This is going to be something that helps you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will take hibiscus, but it's strong. I mean, not just the seeds. You can get the powder, for example.
Actually, no, you know what? I have a better recommendation for you, Muna. In the group that we're in, there's someone there who volunteers at a local community garden. Everything is organic, and they have a beautiful hibiscus plant there. If you volunteer your time, you can actually take home some stuff. Last time I was there, I took home some butterfly PT. So you can actually go there and just volunteer some time. They give you a free meal, girl. Like it's pretty sweet. And then you can actually be like, oh, can I take some of this like roselle home? And then literally boil that bitch up, put it in glass jars, throw it in your fridge. You can make a huge batch even and throw it into the freezer. What I like to do is I get a glass mason jar. Just make sure you don't fill it up all the way, because when it freezes, the glass will crack and it's really sad. So give it a little bit of space, and then that way you can just have it and stuff. Just make like a huge patch and then just thaw it over the course of like a few days. And then you can reheat it or have it cool. Don't ice it, because Maria will come after you and whatnot, because apparently, you know, iced drinks aren't good for us. I think that it's rude to say though, because you know, we live in Thailand and she's living in Switzerland, but whatever, it's fine. But yeah, no, this can be something that can help you. So I think that pretty much covers everything. If for any of you guys who are interested in calls like these, we host a Patreon membership, and the subscription is super affordable, you guys. It's about $1 a day, and we just wanted to give you guys an example of the kind of consultation that you can receive, the customized information. And so we are able to look at your chart. We're able to give you some insights when you are on the call live, or you're a paid subscriber. You can comment with your questions and we'll answer them at a later time. So you'll kind of get a flow. So this gives you a flow of how Maria and I operate. And so we want to make it as accessible as possible. If you want something more custom tailored and precise specifically for you, Maria and I have a combined astrology consultation that you can purchase, where those of you who are my clients, you already know how specific I am. And Maria is like, she is that level of specific when it comes to medical astrology. And you know what? I'm so sorry if I'm repeating myself. We were all chatting before we got on the call. So this might be the third time I've mentioned this recorded. I don't remember. I'm not trying to be annoying and preachy. I just really don't remember if we talked about this or when we talked about it. But Maria is very, like, she has a medical background. She is a doctor. She's been an ER. She's been an ER doctor. She's a former surgeon, Ayurvedic practitioner. She's very organized. She's got a grand earth trine She has her moon in Capricorn. What this basically means is that she's really anal in her organization. She's very structured. She's very clear. And so with this consultation, Maria's consultation is going to be very specific about the herbs, the foods, the supplements. She'll tell you what dosage, like certain dosages, like in my chart, as a general rule, you guys, my sun in Pisces, I absorb iron at a lower level, but my body also rapidly kind of like loses the vitamin B's and vitamin C when I'm under stress and things of that nature. And so there are things that Maria will tell you based on your metabolic rate rather than your physical weight, rather than the statistical information. There's all these recommendations on the best vitamins and the supplements to take, but what's actually best for you is going to be what's most important. It's going to depend on you. So she can give you those precise information. She can tell you where your risks are and stuff. I've learned a lot from Maria. One of the things that I've learned is through my C1 and C3 being misaligned and stuff. And through like my own research, I realized like, oh, my C3 pinches my phrenic nerve. And this is affecting my ability to breathe properly. And so there's a lot of things that's very precise, and I was trying to figure out, why can't I breathe? Why can't I do this? And, so you learn a lot of great detail in the consultation that Maria gives to you. It's about, on average, 10 to 15 pages. It comes with a table of contents, very organized, very clear, really digestible. Sometimes it's longer depending on what your chart shows. It's going to take Maria about a couple weeks to do that. And then I'm going to analyze your chart, and then based on that information, layer on the emotional, psychological, spiritual aspects of things, some actionable steps that you can take, the best way for you to get started that's going to work with your chart, with your energy level, things of that nature. So we do have that available as well for anyone who wants anything more precise. So we do have these options. So if you're interested in it, we'll put our details below. If you have any questions, please contact us. And so, oh yeah, okay. Maria, sorry, you guys. Kiki was asking about magnesium, and she said, do I always take it? Is there a limit and stuff? Yeah, you want to take magnesium daily. Most of us are magnesium deficient, and it actually is also going to take, generally speaking, it depends, months, or if not years. I don't want to be but the minimum is usually months before you actually restore the dosages that your body needs as it is. So taking it daily, making sure that you have the proper sleep hygiene so your body's metabolizing it, detoxifying your liver like we talked about. So whatever you're taking is being effectively metabolized, because your liver that's absorbing this information, this supplement, is going to be able to take it. Make sure you're hydrated, make sure you have other electrolytes and stuff. Make sure
One
that
of
you're
them,
well,
the most
your
important
system.
one is potassium, because potassium goes together with magnesium, and both, if you are low on potassium, this happened really to my brother, because I tested him, and I told him, you have too low potassium in your body, you will collapse. And I gave him potassium, a supplement, and as usual, men are very complicated. He said, yes, I will take it, sis. Don't be. I was okay. I will want to see that if you take it or not. She did not take it because he forgot it, and she landed in emergency because his potassium level was so low. It's not always iron, because we tend to say, oh, well, I feel weak. It's not always iron. It could be as well as potassium and anemia. It's not only blood anemia, okay? I'm just saying potassium is very, very important. I mix both potassium and magnesium daily.
So, Kiki, so yeah, Maria's right. Potassium is actually the most important mineral that a lot of us overlook and stuff. Everyone's all magnesium, when it's really potassium that's really important. I mean, they're all important. But go ahead and contact me because I have a recipe, and it's a DIY recipe for electrolytes where I combine honey, roselle. I actually designed the recipe specifically for myself and Leo risings, because as a Cancer rising, I have Leo in my second house. Leo things support me. And it's actually like a DIY electrolyte that has the potassium, the salts, the other things, with also honey, because it does get really salty, along with roselle. And I dosed it up where it's like you can use it for a month and stuff before you need to remake it. So contact me and I'll send you that recipe over. I love it.
Very, very, very important. Potassium, we really don't think about it, but it's the most important electrolyte. Our heart would not pump properly without potassium.
Yeah.
It's not only magnesium. Magnesium is an office. Together, yes, our heart is an office. But potassium, without potassium, we would not be able to survive.
Absolutely. So that concludes everything. And again, if you have any questions, if you'd like to work with us, we'd love for you to join our Patreon channel. We do this every month, and every month we're going to be talking about the specific zodiac sign that the sun is in, but we're going to make it inclusive. We're going to make this relevant to everyone, and whatever general health question you have, we'll be taking a look at your chart. So if you'd like to contact us, let us know. Thank you so much for joining us, for watching this video, and we'll see you soon.
Happy season.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Let's see here. Sorry, how do I